She'd lost all hope, but the warmth of a human saved her from the darkness. Adrift in the void. The endless black of space swallowed everything. Stars blinked indifferently as the lone figure drifted between them, her body curled tight like a dying star collapsing into itself. Nyx had been floating for days, perhaps weeks. Time lost meaning when you were the last of your kind. Her crystalline skin, once luminous with the golden veins of life energy that marked her species, had dulled to a pale blue. The translucent membranes extending from her shoulders hung limp, their natural bioluminescence flickering weakly, broadcasting her life signal to an empty universe that had long stopped listening. The oxygen recycler implanted at the base of her skull made a soft clicking sound, a warning. Soon it would fail entirely. Soon she would join her people in the great silence. Perhaps that was fitting. What use was one luminary when the homeworld had shattered, taking billions with it? "Hey, got something out here." The voice crackled through a worn comm system, strange and rough to Nyx's sensitive hearing appendages. Definite life signs, but unlike anything in our registry. "Probably space junk, Finn. Let's keep moving. That Rigelian convoy isn't going to wait forever." Another voice, deeper, impatient. "No, look at these readings. It's alive, Decker, and alone." Through half-lidded eyes, Nyx noticed a ship approaching. Small, battered, with mismatched plating that suggested multiple repairs from multiple sources. The word Phoenix was painted on its side in faded letters. A salvage vessel, most likely. Humans, she recognized their silhouettes through the viewport. The species her people had observed from afar but never contacted. Light enveloped her as a tractor beam locked on, drawing her toward the ship's airlock. She didn't resist. What remained of her energy was devoted to keeping her core temperature stable, her remaining organs functioning. The airlock hissed open. A figure in a worn environmental suit approached cautiously, scanner in hand. "Holy stars," the figure whispered, voice now unfiltered by comms. "You're actually alive out there." Darkness claimed Nyx before she could respond. She awakened to the hum of unfamiliar machinery. Her translator implant worked overtime to process the flood of new sounds, categorizing, analyzing. The air smelled of metal, synthetic fabric, and something organic and spicy. Her body rested on something soft, a concession to comfort she hadn't experienced since fleeing her dying world. "Easy there," said a voice, the human from before. He stood a respectful distance away, hands visible, posture open, a deliberate show of non-aggression. "I'm Finn. You're aboard the Phoenix." Nyx tried to sit up. Pain lanced through her torso where the atmospheric pressure differential had damaged her internal chambers. A soft sound escaped her, the closest her physiology could come to a gasp. "Whoa, slow down," Finn said, stepping forward but not touching her. "You're still recovering. We found you drifting out there, pretty much at the end of your oxygen reserves." Nyx's vision focused on the human. Tall for his species, with skin the color of luminary soil and hair cropped close to his skull. His eyes were green, a color her people associated with growth and renewal. How ironic. "Why?" Her voice emerged as a whisper, the sound like wind through crystal. "Why save me?" Finn blinked, then his expression softened. "That's what we do, or at least what we're supposed to do." Your companion disagreed. A half smile. "Decker's practical. Well, my grandmother called it stubbornly optimistic. I've never left anyone adrift who needed help." Nyx's translator struggled with the concept. Among her people, triage was logical. Resources went to those with the greatest chance of survival or usefulness to the collective. A lone survivor of a dead species would rate low on the priority scale. "I am Nyx," she said finally, "last record keeper of Lumeria." Record keeper. Finn sat on a stool nearby, interest visible in his expression. "My function, to preserve our history, science, cultural works." Her inner membranes fluttered with emotion, a role that has lost its purpose. "I doubt that," Finn said quietly. History only loses its purpose when no one's left to learn from it. A silence fell between them, broken only by the ship's gentle humming. Nix noticed for the first time that they were alone in what appeared to be a medical bay, makeshift but functional. "Your ship," she observed. "It is small for a human vessel." Finn laughed, a sound that startled her with its openness. "The Phoenix isn't exactly a Federation flagship. She's a salvage vessel, my home and livelihood rolled into one. Decker's my business partner. We scavenge what we can, sell what we find, and keep moving." Nomads. Nix translated the concept into her understanding. "I guess you could say that." Finn reached for something on a nearby shelf, a container with liquid. "Can you drink water? Our scanners suggest your biology might process it." Nix nodded, accepting the container. Her sensory appendages analyzed the liquid for toxins automatically, an evolutionary advantage of her species. Finding none, she drank slowly, feeling the cool liquid revitalize her desiccated systems. "Your homeworld," Finn said carefully. "What happened?" The question pierced through Nix like a plasma bolt. Images flashed. The massive mining platforms surrounding Lumeria, extracting the crystalline core that gave their world its unique properties. The corporations that promised sustainability but delivered catastrophe. The final shuddering quake as the planetary core destabilized. The desperate evacuation. The refugee ships scattered across unfriendly stars. Communication signals winking out one by one. "We destroyed it," she said simply. "Not intentionally, but thoroughly." Finn nodded, understanding in his eyes. "Humanity almost did the same to Earth. We came close, still might someday. Yet you persist." "It's what we do best." Finn stood, checking a monitor display. "Your physiology is stabilizing. Whatever natural healing process your species has is impressive." "Where are we headed?" Nix asked, suddenly aware of the gentle sensation of movement. "Outpost 7. It's a trading hub, neutral territory. We were on our way there when we found you. They have better medical facilities than my little patch-up job here." Nix felt a flutter of alarm. "I cannot. My species is unknown to your galactic community. The data in my neural archive." "Hey," Finn said, raising his hands in a calming gesture. "No one's going to force you to share anything. You're not cargo, you're a passenger, a guest. And after Outpost 7, that's up to you." Finn's expression was genuine, open. "But if you need somewhere to stay while you figure things out, the Phoenix has room." Nix stared at him, trying to process this unexpected kindness. In the echoing emptiness that had been her existence since watching her world die, something shifted, a small, fragile spark. Not quite hope, but its distant ancestor. The possibility that perhaps the end of her world didn't have to mean the end of everything. "Thank you," she said, the words unfamiliar on her tongue. Gratitude was not a common expression among the practical Lumeri. Finn just nodded, a small smile playing at the corner of his mouth. "Get some rest. We've got 2 days before we reach the outpost." As he left the medical bay, Nix settled back onto the recovery bed. The pain in her body was subsiding, but the ache in her core, the emptiness of being the last, remained. Yet somehow, in this small ship with its patchwork hull and its stubbornly optimistic human, that ache felt just slightly less absolute. The Phoenix continued its journey through the stars, carrying its usual crew and one unexpected passenger, adrift no longer. Fragments of memory. Days aboard the Phoenix passed in a rhythm unfamiliar to Nix. Unlike the rigid schedules of Lumerian society, humans seemed to operate on a fluid timeline dictated by necessity, whim, and the occasional crisis. Finn repaired systems that groaned in protest. Decker charted their course with constant muttering about fuel efficiency, and Nix slowly regained her strength. The ship itself fascinated her. Unlike Lumerian vessels with their crystalline efficiency and mathematical perfection, the Phoenix was a contradiction, functional despite its chaotic design. Patches covered patches, Wires had been rerouted so many times they formed unintentional art, and the navigation system occasionally required a firm tap to cooperate. "She's temperamental," Finn explained, noticing Nix's analysis of an exposed circuit panel, "but reliable where it counts." Nix's translator struggled with the pronoun. "You assign this vessel feminine attributes." "Old spacer tradition," Finn said, welding a loose connection. "Ships are always she. Don't ask me why, predates space travel entirely." "Your species anthropomorphizes objects frequently," Nix observed. "We found it curious in our studies." Finn paused, setting down his tools. "You studied humans before." "From a distance," she clarified. "We monitored many developing species. Part of my function as record-keeper was to analyze potential contact candidates." "And did we make the cut?" A hint of humor tinged his words, but she detected genuine curiosity. Nix's bioluminescent patterns shifted to a thoughtful blue-green. "Your development trajectory was concerning. Technological advancement outpacing social evolution. But your adaptability was remarkable." "That's diplomatic." We were still deliberating when Lumeria began to destabilize. Contact protocols became irrelevant. Decker entered the maintenance bay, his large frame filling the doorway. Unlike Finn's easy acceptance, Decker regarded Nix with cautious neutrality. Not hostile but pragmatic, a trait she understood. "Finn, we're approaching the Kelsian debris field. Need you on sensors." Finn nodded, gathering his tools. "Come up to the bridge if you're feeling up to it," he told Nix. "The view is worth seeing." The bridge of the Phoenix was cramped but functional. 3 chairs faced a panoramic viewport, currently showing a spectacular expanse of space where a planet had once exploded, leaving a glittering field of mineral-rich asteroids. Dangerous and beautiful, a combination Nix was beginning to associate with human endeavors. "We thread through here carefully," Decker explained, breaking his usual silence toward her. "Salvage runners like us can make a month's profit in one pass if we're smart. If we're not, we end up as part of the debris." Nix occupied the 3rd chair, designed for a navigator they no longer employed. Her sensory appendages unfurled slightly, analyzing the field. "The particle density suggests an optimal path 30 degrees port of your current trajectory." Decker raised an eyebrow at Finn, who shrugged. "Worth a try." They adjusted course. The Phoenix slipped between asteroid clusters with surprising grace for such an ungainly vessel. Nix's calculations proved accurate. The path contained rich mineral deposits and minimal hazards. "Not bad," Decker admitted grudgingly after they'd collected several valuable fragments. "Your species were miners." "Cartographers," Nix corrected. "We mapped stars, planets, resources. The corporations that destroyed our world came later." She hadn't intended to reveal so much, but the words escaped before she could contain them. Finn glanced at her, expression softening. "Corporations from your own people." "And others. Once Lumeria's crystalline core was discovered to amplify energy production tenfold, our isolation ended abruptly. Her inner membranes fluttered with remembered distress. We were unprepared for the politics of resource extraction." "Tale as old as time," Decker muttered. "Same story on a dozen worlds." They worked in silence as the Phoenix harvested what it could from the debris field. Nix found herself automatically calculating trajectories, identifying valuable minerals with her natural abilities, working alongside them as if she belonged there. The sensation was disorienting. Later, in the ship's small galley, Finn prepared a nutrient solution compatible with her biology while heating something that smelled strongly of spices for himself and Decker. "You're good at this," Finn said, passing her a container of shimmering liquid. "Navigation, resource identification. You've earned your passage twice over already." "I have purpose here," Nix admitted. "It is unexpected." "Purpose helps," Decker said, surprising her with his contribution to the conversation. After my colony was wiped out by fever, I drifted, literally and figuratively. He gestured around the ship. This rust bucket gave me somewhere to be. Nyx absorbed this information. Perhaps humans understood loss better than she had credited. The neural archive I carry, she said slowly, contains the complete historical and scientific knowledge of my people. It was meant to be transferred to a new repository, a final safeguard against our extinction. Finn and Decker exchanged glances. And now, Finn asked gently, now I am the repository, the last vessel of a civilization that no longer exists. Her bioluminescence dimmed. A library with no readers. I'd read it, Finn said simply, if you wanted to share. Nyx stared at him, her translator working to process the implications. You would learn of Lumeria. Why not? Sounds like you were a remarkable people who made some mistakes. Seems worth remembering. That night, alone in the small cabin they'd cleared for her, Nyx stood before the viewport watching stars streak by. Among her people, emotional displays were considered inefficient. Yet here unseen, she allowed her bioluminescence to pulse with the grief she'd suppressed since witnessing her world's end. The phoenix hummed around her, its imperfect systems working in unlikely harmony to keep them alive in the vacuum. Much like her unlikely connection with these humans, imperfect, yet somehow functional. A knock at her door interrupted her thoughts. Sorry to disturb you, Finn said when she opened it, but I thought you might want this. He held out a data tablet. I've been collecting star charts from every system we visit. Nothing as sophisticated as your cartography, I'm sure, but it's a start, if you wanted to continue your work. Nyx accepted the tablet, her crystalline fingers brushing against his human ones. The gesture's significance wasn't lost on her. A new repository, she said softly. Just a beginning, Finn corrected with a smile. Decker's warming up to you, by the way. He actually used your name instead of the alien today. Progress indeed. After Finn left, Nyx returned to the viewport, the tablet clutched against her chest. The stars no longer seemed to mock her solitude. Instead, they waited patient, eternal, ready to be mapped anew. Perhaps being the last didn't mean being alone. Perhaps there was a difference. For the first time since watching her world shatter, Nyx felt the crystalline core of her being resonate with something she had thought lost forever. Not just hope, but possibility.